on, guys? Multiverse here with yet another action figure review video, and today we are having a look at Flashpoint Aquaman from McFarlane Toys. Starting off this video, guys, we are of course taking a look at the McFarlane packaging, and it is of course that black, white, and blue with the open face window, seeing Aquaman and all his accessories in here, including the Cyborg Build-A-Figure piece. Down here at the bottom, guys, it does say DC Multiverse and Aquaman's name. Flipping them over here on the side, we see Aquaman from the comic Flashpoint, and over here on the back is an image of Cyborg, with this being the first of 4 for the Build-A-Figure piece. Going over here to this side, guys, not really much going on other than DC Multiverse and Aquaman's name again. Nothing at all going on at the top. And then down here at the bottom is the barcode for you barcode guys. With all that said, let's go ahead and rip Aquaman out of the packaging and take a closer look. In the Flashpoint timeline, the history of the DC Universe was rewritten. Unlike the heroic Aquaman we know, Arthur Curry returned to Atlantis at a younger age, never developing a sense of compassion and kindness. He instead became a ruthless emperor, waging war on the Amazons of Themyscira. Once set to enter a political marriage with Princess Diana, Emperor Aquaman now seeks revenge on the Amazons for the death of his true queen, Mera. So right here, guys, is Aquaman out of the package, standing on the rotating turntable, and I think from my first-hand impressions, he looks freaking fantastic. McFarlane Toys really did knock it out of the park with this guy. Now, I will say a little bit of a side note, I am not a fan of the constant screaming face. Granted, it's his war face, he's ready to go, he's ready to fight the Amazons, he's ready to fight the Flash and all these other heroes and villains from the Flashpoint storyline, but it just feels like there's going to be only so much I can get when it comes to photos with this guy. It's still going to be a plethora of things, but it's only going to be combat images. Can't have him standing over the ocean and just admiring his kingdom. It's gonna have to be strictly combat photos. But with all that said though, guys, let's go ahead and get Aquaman off of the rotating turntable and take a closer look at the accessories that he came with. In terms of accessories, guys, we're going to start with the Build-A-Figure piece for Cyborg. We're not going to get too in detail on it, but I do, of course, want to showcase it just to show you guys how decent this guy is going to look. He's going to look freaking amazing when he is put together. And I will say, he doesn't feel like a flimsy Build-A-Piece like with freaking Solomon Grundy from Arkham City's Build-A-Figure was. This guy is going to be heavy duty. Let's go ahead and move Cyborg off to the side here, guys, and jump right in to the McFarlane standing base that Aquaman came with. Just DC stamped right there on the front with the standing foot peg off to the side. Now we're going to have a look at his trading card, guys, and it is an awesome look at how Aquaman was in the Flashpoint storyline. Flipping over here to the back now, guys, is the read-up if you want to pause the screen and read it right now. Always give you guys that little bit of a second. And last but not least, guys, is the trident. Aquaman's trident. Of course, these are going to be very flimsy, guys. Out of the packaging, yours will most likely be warped. There was about 20 of them at my local Target that I could have chose from, and this one, believe it or not, was the best looking trident. Everything else was smushed together. So choose wisely, but even if you do choose one that's all bent up, soak it in hot water and just kind of pull them apart. It is an easy fix. But just looking at the detail and the engravings all throughout his trident, guys, it looks freaking awesome. They did an amazing job. Now, at the time, I really did think that this was just a reused trident because I thought it looked very familiar. And the one I thought it looked like was the trident from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, I can, of course, see a little bit of similarities there, but it is a completely different sculpt. So I really do respect McFarlane for whenever he does these tridents, he has given us different molds and different sculpts altogether. With all that said though, guys, let's go ahead and move away from the accessories and take a closer look at Aquaman's detail. When it comes to the detail, guys, right here we have Aquaman front and center. And starting off with the head sculpt, I will say I like the detail they gave him. I'm not a big fan of the constant screaming face like I said in the beginning, but they really made it work with all of these wrinkles coming in through his face. The scrunched up eyebrow, the wrinkled forehead, the wrinkles going down his face, down his cheeks here, guys. They knocked it out of the park with this face. he's not just sitting here looking as bland as ever. He actually has some aging going on here. Now, I will say, I do feel like they went a little heavy on the eyeshadow. Definitely not as heavy as they have done on some of the Joker figures that we have seen before in the past. But he just has like a little bit of too dark when it comes to the eye makeup going on here that they gave him. But I do love the scar going across his nose and his cheek. I think that was an amazing decision. I absolutely respect that. Also, I'm a big fan of the flat top they have going on here for the Aquaman, showing all that short hair, and it's not that like surfer boy blonde hair. It is a slicked back freaking flat top going on here. Going down here to the chest now, guys, I love this scaly design for the Aquaman suit, and I really do love how this one is that reddish orange from the Flashpoint comic with the gold trim. I feel like it works, it stands out, it's freaking amazing. Another thing I wanted to talk about, guys, is if you flip it over here to the side, you see the Aquaman symbol on his shoulder. Now, it could just be how he is here. I don't remember him ever having that in the movie or the comics. I just probably wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna have to look at some photos. If I can find one, I'll put one up here. If not, I probably forgot, but I digress on this subject. One thing I really do like, guys, about this Aquaman figure is if you flip him over to the back, we'll see right here now that he does have a satchel type harness on his back for his trident. Unfortunately, let's see if I can get him to work on camera. I've been trying for the past like 10 minutes, but I cannot get him to holster. That's what it's called, a holster. There we go. Good job, Multi. Way to embarrass yourself. But I cannot get this holstered in because it is a soft plastic, but it's just so freaking stiff right now. It's just not working with me. But his trident is supposed to slide right in there so he can have it on his back like such. But obviously it's going to be a lot further down. Hopefully I can get it figured out by the end of the video. I'll probably have to just soak it in some warm water. Oh, now I can't even get it out. Stand by. There we are, guys. Got it out now. So I'll probably have to end up soaking him in some hot water, or at least of all, just the harness here. Pop the head off, pop the arm off, slide it off, and just throw it in some hot water. So that way I can at least be able to use his little holster back here. Going down here now, guys, to his waist, I love the belt that they gave him, the little bit of separation all throughout it, and of course the classic Aquaman logo. And I am a big fan of the black and gold trim that they have going for his pants. The black and gold really pop on this figure, and even the straight gold lines going down his legs really are painted very, very well. There is hardly any mistakes. Yeah, I get it. There's some chippage here, but it is fine by me. It looks a-okay. Just looks freaking amazing. And then, of course, last but not least, guys, looking at his fins back here, I've got this one a little warped. This one is straight out, but a little bit of hot water, like I said, and I'll be able to fix this. No problem there. This dude looks amazing. One of their top tier Aquaman, if you ask me. With all that said, though, guys, let's go ahead and get away from the details, zoom out, and take a closer look at his scale, articulation, and size comparison. When it comes to how tall this figure stands, guys, Aquaman does, of course, stand at about that 7 1/4 mark. So we'll just call him that classic 7 inches from McFarlane Toys. Now going ahead, pick him up, take him off of his base right here, guys. Let's go ahead and move him closer to the camera and take a closer look at that articulation. When it comes to his articulation, guys, his head is, of course, on that ball joint, so he can twist his head all the way around. He can look up about that far and look down about that far. His head, of course, does have some decent head tilt in there. Going over here to his arms now, guys, his arms do articulate out about that far. They do rotate all the way around, and he does come with a useful butterfly joint, so you can get it to bend and flex in any which way you want. He does, of course, have bicep swivel, double hinged elbows, and his wrists are, of course, on that classic hinge and peg. And unfortunately, again, it is the older ball pegs that McFarlane was using back in the beginning of 2022 and 2021. I really want to know what's going on to where he's not using the new hinges that blend in with the figure. Going over here now, guys, to his waist, his ab crunch is just popped right off. Oh my God, I killed him. Let's go ahead and fix that, guys. right there. So he does, of course, hinge forward about that far, but don't strain it too much. He'll just pop right off, apparently. And then if you bend him backwards, he does go back about that far. He does, of course, get some other bendage going on in here, guys, where he can sway side to side. His waist articulation, his waist does rotate all the way around, and his legs kick forward about that far. They kick back about that far with the McFarlane crotch grab, showing double hinged knees, and his ankle articulation does articulate down. It articulates up. He has toe articulation. Kind of breaks his toes there, doesn't he? And he does, of course, have ankle pivot. I will say, a little weird here. They're using the new hinges for his ankles, but not for his wrists. I'm very confused. Very, very confused. When it comes to size comparison, guys, here we have the Flashpoint Aquaman next to Grifter and the Flashpoint Unmasked Batman. Apologies, guys, I do not have the masked Flashpoint Batman. I know that's everybody's favorite, but I unfortunately do not have that one. Been trying to track him down for years, but he is still a no-show for me. But the Flashpoint timeline here, guys, they do scale up beautifully. Right here, guys, we have the Flashpoint Aquaman next to the Endless Winter Aquaman and Zack Snyder's Justice League Aquaman, with Jason Momoa just towering over these two. And if this body mold did look familiar, it is just a reuse from the Endless Winter Aquaman. Right here, guys, we have the Flashpoint Aquaman next to the DC Essentials Aquaman and the DC Collectibles Black Manta, and I do feel that the size here is just fine for me, especially between these two. Right here, guys, maybe this isn't your favorite trident for Aquaman, so just in case you wanted to see him with some different ones, here we have him with Jason Momoa's from Zack Snyder's Justice League's trident, and right here we have him with the Endless Winter Aquaman's trident. And maybe, guys, you're like me and not a big fan of this head sculpt here. I want to do a little bit of a head swap for you. So right here, guys, I'm really feeling this one with the Endless Winter Aquaman's face. I really do like this suit and this head here. And right here, guys, we have Jason Momoa's head sculpt on there. And for me, he sits a little too high. So it's either going to be the original Screaming or the Endless Winter. Most likely going to be the Endless Winter one for me. Alrighty, guys, and there you have it. Another action figure review video in the books on my channel for you guys to enjoy. When it comes to my review on this Flashpoint Aquaman, I'm going to have to give him a solid 9 out of 10. I really do think that McFarlane Toys did an amazing job on this figure. But for me, he's just super stiff, easy fix. But then again, there's always the face. The face, they knocked it out of the park with detail. Some of you guys might even be thinking, oh, Multi, you're crazy. This is a 10 out of 10. Hands down. What are you thinking? Look, guys, for me, it's just that 9 out of 10. So if you disagree, disagree. It is my opinion at the end of the day. With all that said, though, guys, if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit the like button and smack subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down in the comment section below. And hey, we figured it out. I will see you guys in the next video. Later.